Good morning, viewers. I've got a great big piece of quartz here that I preformed, and I'm going to cut another Portuguese cut with this. I'm going to dop with wax and get started on it. I estimate the final diameter probably around 38 to 40 millimeter, because right now it's about 40. So I'm going to lose a little bit, so maybe 37, 38 millimeter when it's done. Alright, I'll get it dopped up. Okay, I'm getting the stone centered now. I've got a mark on it, and I've got it pretty close to where it's going to be glued on. So I'll mix up the epoxy glue and get it on there. Okay, I'm going to start rounding the stone. Actually, I've started a little bit. I'm going to use the 100 lap to start. And then I'll go to probably the 260 lap. And then when I'm completely round, I'll start cutting the facets, the girdle facets. Here I've started cutting the girdle facets, and I just have to cut deeper and close in the space between them. That's why it looks like it's not cut here, but here it is. I just have to cut deeper, but I'll just go around this first time, cut all of them, then come back and cut deeper. I'm now cutting with the 600 lap, and I've marked a few facets that I've got to go back over. They need a little more grinding because there's still some scratches from the 260 lap that I've got to clean up, and they're just a tiny bit smaller than the rest. So I'll take care of those. And here's a couple more I've got to do. And I'll move to the 1200 lap after this. It's taking a lot of time because this is a huge stone and it's quartz. It's a very tough stone. So it does take a lot of time. And I couldn't avoid the inclusions, so there's a few here near the girdle area. They don't reach deep into the stone, but still they're there. Okay, that's how we're looking so far. I put a line around the stone. It just is a rough guide to where I want to stop cutting. Yeah, I've still got some more cutting to do till I get down to where I want to stop. Some of them are about there. These all need to be done. Cutting with the 100 grit lap. Now the first tier of facets, the first row, is roughed in. So, excuse me. I'm going to move on to the second row next. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm cutting with the 100 grit lap, and I'm not bringing the facet all the way down to the girdle. I'm going to leave room for the 260 lap to come along and make the meet points. So once I finish all these facets with the 100, I'll cut them all again with the 260 right down to the girdle. The third tier has now been cut, so I'll go on to the fourth after this. I've completed the fourth tier facets, and here they're marked. And one more tier to go. And then I can start the fine cutting. I'm still using the coarse grit laps, the 260 actually, on this last row. And at this point I've been cutting for about 6 hours on this stone. Okay, this is the last tier I'm cutting. Got to be very careful. I don't want to overcut right in the middle of all these. Okay, here we have all the tiers cut, all 5 tiers of the pavilion. Cut from down to 260 grit. And the next step will be put on the 600 lap and go over all the facets very carefully. And cut them all with 600. Okay, I've just finished up with the 3000 lap, and I'm going to go to the 8000 pre-polish lap next. I'm going to hit all these facets very lightly, and then it'll be time for polish, final polish. All pre-polishes is completed, and next will be the cerium oxide final polish. Okay, this is final polishing. Okay, I've completely finished the polishing. So I'm going to put the stone in the transfer jig and transfer to another dock stick. Alright, we're going to remove the dop. Dop number 1, the one I started with, and I'm going to heat an X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut the epoxy off. Okay, I'm going to heat the epoxy a little bit to help it soften up. It's taking too long without heating it. Okay, just to play it safe, I wrap the stone with a wet towel. I'm going to heat it again. Okay, finally got it off. Now I can start faceting the crown. Okay, I'm starting to cut the crown now. Working on the first facet of the crown here. I've got to cut that all the way down to here and do the first tier of facets. Okay, now I've cut all of the crown first tier facets. They were initially cut with a 100 lap and I've finished them up with a 260. Next I will determine if I'm going to go with a 360 or the 600. And I'll determine that I'll start out with the 360 and see how the finish looks and if it's taking all the scratches out from the 260 lap. If it looks good, I'll do the 360, then I'll go to 600. But these are pretty large facets on a really big stone, so it took a long time to grind down to this point. Okay, I've cut all the crown facets up to 240 grit. So next I put on the 600 lap and I'll start with it and I'll go over every facet. And work my way on up from 600 all the way up to the 8000 pre-polish. So I've got another few more hours on that before I can ever think about polishing. ready to start polishing, the final polish. Then I'll come back and I'll finish the table. Polish is finished, but I've still got to do the table. I've got to cut it down a little more, finish polishing it. Still needs to go deeper. The stone's looking really good. Polish worked really nice. I used the cerium oxide lightning lap on this stone. Alright, I'm final polishing the table, and I've got a tip for you. If you're a beginner or someone has trouble polishing, if you're having scratching or trouble getting the polish, you can take your stone over to this side of the lap, because the facets are being attacked by the different direction of the lap. The stone is now polishing at a different direction than over here, and that can sometimes help you eliminate problems with scratching and polishing. Gemstone is finished. So I'll undop it, and we'll look at it and see what it is, how it turned out. Okay, I got the gemstone off the dop without too much trouble, and there we have it. This is quartz, it's not cubic zirconia, so if you take care with your polishing and you cut to the proper angles, you can have a very nice quartz stone, gemstone. Okay, let's see what this thing weighs. Okay, I'm going to weigh the gemstone. 257.5 carats. The stone measures 39.4 millimeters in diameter, 32.3 in height.